What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. This is TWA Motorsports, and today, yes, as the thumbnail suggests, we are working on the Trans Am. Now, what are we doing and why? Well, unfortunately, we are not going back with new parts. We are taking old parts off. So I took the headers off a couple weeks ago, which I will show you guys a clip of that in just a minute. Obviously, headers, we are going to turbos, so we don't need the headers. So got those out of the way already, but like I said, I'm going to show you guys the clip of me removing those. And the transmission. This is a stock 4L60E, and it is just not going to hold the power that we are going to put to this car. Now, I'm not going to put a ton of power to this car because obviously we're still on the stock bottom end, and that's, you know, we're not going to be able to push that motor a ton, but we're going to push it way further than the transmission is going to take it. So we need to get that out of the way. While it's still good, I'm going to sell it, and I actually think I already have somebody that is going to purchase it. But let's cut to the clip of me removing the headers. Once we get the headers out, then we're going to move on to the transmission removal. So I think we're going to start on the coil packs. So the plug wires, obviously, then the coil packs, then the spark plugs on both sides. Once we get that out of the way, then we should be able to get the headers loose. Now that we got the coil packs out of the way, we're going to go ahead and grab the dipstick tube, and then we should be able to get the spark plugs out. So if you notice, I started on the hard side when it came to taking the plug wires off and the plugs out. But now we got all that out of the way. I'm going to go ahead and knock the headers loose, just a 10 millimeter. Now I do have it, if you guys watched any of my videos when I put the headers on, I've got some bungee cords to hold them up so they don't just fall out once I get them loose. But I'm going to go ahead and start on the outside and work my way in, loosening these up. Now, what we are hoping is going to happen is that I'm not going to have to take that steering column loose. I think with the extra room from the K-member now, I'm not going to have to. If you have a stock K-member, chances are you're going to have to. But I'm going to go ahead and see if I can snake these things out of here. So now that the headers are out of the way, it is time to get the transmission out of the way. So the very first things we're going to do is we're going to unhook any of the electronics, which not a whole lot. There's just a plug here in the back, and if you guys saw me take this out the first time, you'll know that there's just not a whole lot. There's a plug up here, which I will get to once I drop the cross member down, and we'll also get to the transmission lines, which I think I'm going to completely take out of the car because we're not going to be using those either. On this side, there's just a ball and socket that we need to remove in order to get the shift mechanism or the shifter unhooked. And there's two 13 millimeters, I believe, to get this off as well. So I'm gonna go grab a few wrenches. We'll grab a flathead to pop this out of the way. And then we will grab, I didn't bolt this down yet actually, because, well, we were in the process of going back together when I decided to do all this. So we'll also get the cross member out of the way. So I already got one of the 15s out. So there's 4 15s that hold the actual cross member in place. Sorry, that's really loud on camera, I'm sure. Now that we got it out of the way, you can get a little more access to unplug some things. So now that this is down, we can go ahead and unplug the main connector here. If I can get it to pinch and pull off, there we go. And I did zip tie a couple spots here, so I'm gonna have to cut those zip ties, but literally that one and this rear speed sensor are the only two actual plugs on the transmission. Everything else is like oxygen sensors, which I had those tied up as well because we won't be reusing the rear O2s. Got those tied up and out of the way. I'm gonna have to cut that. And then other than that, we need to get this unhooked. Like I said before, I'm gonna go grab a flathead screwdriver or just a standard screwdriver, pop this off, and the two 13s here. Now sometimes this is easy and sometimes it's not. I really need something different to take it off, but flathead screwdriver generally works. Once we get that out of the way, these two 13s. And then I generally just put them right back into place so you don't lose them. If you want to put them in a bag, you can. I generally don't. Now that we have the shifter cable unhooked here, we're going to go on to removing the two transmission lines that go into place. Now, hopefully you guys can see those up there. There's just, if you pull the ends off, or there's a little piece of plastic that pushes up around the end. If you pull that back, you'll see there's a metal clip, and it's similar to like a window crank in a vehicle, but that once you remove those, I just use a pick to remove them. I'm not going to be able to show you guys that on camera because there's just no room for me to get in there, but once we remove those, let's see if I can get on this other side here. Anyway, once we remove those clips, these just pull directly out. I wanted to show you guys what these things look like. They're little bitty. Once you get those off, and I'm pretty sure I just dropped one on the floor, didn't I? Oh, there it is. They generally flip every which direction. I just use a pick like this to pull them out. But, here, shine the light up in here, bud. I got my son out here helping. Once you get those out of the way, these lines should pull straight out, just like that. Now, obviously, if you have transmission fluid in, be prepared to catch a big mess at this point. But the lines are out of the way. And unfortunately, I did go ahead and bolt in the torque converter. So that is going to be my next step. I'm going to take the torque converter bolts out, which we're going to have to put something on the crank and spin it around. Sorry guys, I'm banging the camera and the mic on everything, but we're going to have to spin the crank around in the front and loosen up the 17 millimeter torque converter bolts. Actually, I thought that I put those in, but I did not. So as you can see, there's no torque converter bolts in there, which is just one less step. So now we can go ahead and start taking the 8 transmission bolts out that hold the transmission to the block. I'm going to start by taking the 4 up top out. Now that's going to be really hard to show you guys. I'll probably just put that on a time lapse. I just use a long extension, which you'll be able to see while I time lapse it. But I leave the bottom 4. Once I get all that's left is the bottom 4, then we'll put the transmission jack in place, strap the transmission to it, which you can see the jack out there. and we'll get those other 4 out, and we'll be able to pull the transmission out of the way. So as you can see, I've got multiple extensions on. Now in a 1/2 inch, I have like a 3 or 4 foot long one, but I like to use these smaller ones. It just seems like they bend around a little easier, but it also puts a lot more slack in it. So we're gonna get these top 4 transmission bolts out, or we're gonna hope once we get those out of place, like I said, then we'll roll that jack in here and get this thing out of the way. So that didn't take very long. We have the bottom 4 left. You can see that one here. Then of course the one on the very bottom that goes into the pan on both sides, and then that one there. So I got all those out of the way. So now I'm gonna go ahead, go grab the transmission, or I can't even say it, guys, transmission jack. We're gonna get it into place. And once we get that into place, I am gonna run a strap over the top. It just makes me feel a little better about taking it out. And we'll knock those other 4 out, and we'll have this sucker out of the way. Not that important. All right. Now we got it all hooked up. Take these bottom 4 bolts out, hopefully. And we should get this thing out of the way. Take it off. Take that one out.
No, I can't because it's...
Okay, that's fine. Here, put this on. Start with that. No? Okay. I'm going to try to keep it as straight as possible. See if you can thread it out by hand. Coming?
Yeah.
There you go. All right, now all we need to do is drop this thing down. So
Get back.
he's scared, so he's getting back. I'm gonna hit my head on everything. Will you grab me a towel?
Yeah, what is that? Boiling? Or green?
Yeah. And just like that, we are out. Man, I'm telling you guys, buy a transmission jack. I don't want that. I don't want that kind of stuff.
Oh.
Looks like clean paint towel. So, yeah, definitely buy a transmission jack if you don't have one. Because it makes your life so much nicer. All right, it's out. So hopefully you guys were able to see that, how much easier it was with a transmission jack. We have it out of the way. And that is, I think, all for the transmission part. Well, I say I think, the transmission's out, but what I meant was like, oh man, I need a new grommet here. Anyway, I'm not gonna have to take all of this out like I did before when I was painting and cleaning. These are all clean and it is not in the way. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and take these out. Like I said, I'm not gonna be reusing these factory lines. They don't actually hook up real well to that anyway. But we got the transmission up here on the jack. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the converter out of it because the guy does not want the converter. So let's see if we can get those lines out of the way anyway. I'm probably going to make a huge mess trying to get these out. Because if I remember correctly, they were a real pain going in. I had to like flip stuff all which directions in order for that to happen. So we'll see. Obviously, if you have your alternator in place, it's a little bit tougher. Oh, look, it's gonna make a liar out of me and come out really easy. Maybe it was a fuel line that was a pain. You can see I've still got some transmission fluid in there because it is still dripping, that is for sure. Oh, there's the problem I was looking for. Get transmission fluid on everything. That's what I wanted. There we go. All right, they are out of the way. Let's get them outside. Now that we got those lines out of the way, go ahead and pull this out. A lot of times that makes a mess too, but way easier to take it out than it is to put it in. Now we can drop this thing down and hopefully get it off the jack. Which, believe me, the transmission, so hopefully you guys know that I'm going to a 4L80. That is the replacement transmission. The 4L80 is a lot heavier than this, but I am able to manage this off by myself. And even though it's pretty heavy, I think these are about 100 and some odd pounds, and the 4L80 is like pushing 200, I think. I don't know, you guys hit the comments and let me know if you know the weight difference between the two, but we'll see if we have anything else that I want to take off. So we now have the transmission off the jack. I got this little rolly cart, which is really, really nice, guys. Instead of scooting this thing around, it wheels around really nice. I'll try to list that in the description. If you guys don't have one of those, it does come in pretty handy. Like I said, I think the transmission's sold. The headers are already gone as I filmed that, like I said, a couple weeks back, but the converter is not. So if you guys know anybody, it is a Yank 3200 stall. I am going to be selling it. It is for a 4L60 for a Trans Am. The splines are a little bit different on a truck. I don't think it'll fit a truck. So Trans Am Camaro, Firebird, LS motor, it should fit. But if you guys know anybody, my information is in the description of this video. Now, what is the plan? Obviously, it's going to be a few weeks before we get the parts. Now, obviously, this is November, so it's probably going to be January, maybe even later before I get the turbo parts. But there are some other things that I can be doing, and I want to get this thing off the lift. So I wanted the transmission out because, like I said, I had it sold, or at least I think I have it sold, and I wanted it out of the way, and that gives me a little more room. Honestly, when I'm taking this off, it's so low that the less weight that's on it, the better as far as getting it off the lift. Now I'm going to get it on this side, and once it's on this side, we'll be able to get the rear end out from under it. We can't do that on this style lift. We probably could, but it would be a real hassle. Once the rear end's out, then we can get the gas tank out, and I still haven't decided what I'm going to do, whether I'm going to do a flat door. Now, I know you guys don't want to see a flat door, but it would not, I mean, look, the rest of the way I've done things, guys, do you think that I would just cut some janky door and then bend it back? No, I would not do that. So if I do a flat door, it will be a nice, clean setup, but I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. And the main reason I've thought about a flat door is the fuel lines I'm going to be running are going to be like a stainless style or a nylon style with push lock fittings or push together or bolt together like AN fittings. So if I were to happen to have a leak, I sure don't want to pull all that back apart, but we're not there yet. The plan is to get this off the lift on this side. That way we can start working on the rear end. And I want to get my wife's car, the SS, on the lift because I'm going to have to be doing some fuel stuff. I want it up here when I'm taking the heads, cam, all the stuff off of it. I want it up on the lift. So kind of going to be getting stuff moved around here soon, hopefully. But guys, if you enjoyed this video, please smash that thumbs up button. Like always, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Go hit the subscribe button. Make sure you ring the bell icon that we are notified every single time we drop a new video. And well, guys, we are just getting started. The Trans Am is going to happen. For all you naysayers out there, I promise you this will be finished. Now, how soon? I don't know that I can promise you a date, but it will be finished. I can promise you that. So, guys, stay tuned to see what we do next.